And we are now joined by LA Galaxy head coach Greg Vanney. We'll go ahead and start with questions from Josh Guessman.
Josh.
Hey, Greg. Congratulations on the win. You guys probably started, I think, the way that you wanted to. Getting a goal in the 23rd minute was good. Getting the goal at the beginning of the second half, so things were sort of going your way. I think you guys had a chance to make it 3-0 and sort of put that game away and put it to bed. Instead, DC comes back and scores. So you guys had to do a lot of work in that last remaining third of the game.
Yeah.
What needs to change there for you guys?
Yeah, I think because the first half played out in a way where there was so little space on the attacking half of the field, and we would be trying to build attacks, and if then they would end up with a ton of numbers behind the ball. There wasn't a ton of space to work and run, and things were kind of getting bogged down. At 2-0, I think they were starting to show themselves that they were going to come out and start to pressure a little bit more, and so that means that there's going to be more space behind them if you break the initial pressure. And at times I felt like we broke the initial pressure and we were so focused on trying to go score the next goal. And some of the situations looked promising, and some of them we just missed passes, and some of them. But I think in that point when a team is trying to change their intensity level, now compress you got to drive them back into their end of the field and make them come back low and defend low, and make them win balls deep in their half of the field, make their attacking guys who are pressing come low to find the ball, force them to have to defend deep, and then you can start to turn the pressure back on them in the counter pressure, which I thought we did in the first half. So I felt like we were between trying to force sort of that third goal and finish attacks and then just missing some passes in some of those sequences. I felt like we just kept giving them the ball to come back at us. And then it became a momentum game, right? As they bring Benteke on and they bring others, they obviously have Leao's a very good player. They bring on some guys who have some quality, and obviously Benteke is a dangerous player. And I feel like we keep giving them momentum back when we had the chance maybe to just put them deep in their half and force them to have to really work to recover the ball. And I felt like we gave momentum back, and we had to battle it out at the end, and at times suffer a little bit just because we didn't see it out the way we wanted to. But I felt like maybe the sense of actually having space to run started to really invite us, and the feel for the third goal was maybe too enticing at times when we needed to play more about just winning the game and seeing the game out at times.
Does that hurt you, the fact that if you go up 3-0 in that game, maybe you can make some subs and do some stuff when you have a short rest week, that type of thing, and instead you guys ended up having to battle through the 100th minute. So was there wasted energy out there because of that?
I'd prefer us get the third and see it out and get some guys out to do it. I think we kind of stuck more or less with what we had anticipated our sub pattern to be, maybe a few minutes more here or there, but for the most part, I think we stuck with our thought process for how we wanted to go about the week. But certainly just in terms of the broader effort, the amount of defending and transition work that we had to do through the last third of the game was definitely more than I would have liked us to do. I would like us at home be able to establish possession, control of the game. If they're going to come stepping out, I would like to see us break through the pressure cleaner and be a little bit smoother. But I felt like different circumstances in the game also led to us being, not quite so. I thought Marco kind of got beat up a little bit through the course of the game, and I thought Nasi wasn't as effective in linking up as he had been in a few other games. So when we were breaking lines, it wasn't quite as clean on the other side, and I feel like that's a piece of it inside of all of it. So I thought, again, Marco is always fantastic. I just felt like he was just getting beaten up around the field a little bit tonight. Yep.
Hey, Greg. The game did seem a bit physical, maybe more than a normal Saturday night game, you think? Or
yeah, it could be. I mean, you have in the first half, the spaces are quite tight because they're dropping pretty low, and we're trying to figure out how to break through the lines, and so the bodies are a lot closer together in those instances where things can get a little bit physical. Look, you have a team that just lost their coach and isn't in a great spot, and so at some point they're going to respond to that. If they feel like they're still in the game or there's something for them, there's something inside of that that's probably going to happen. So it got physical. I think maybe to neutralize players, they looked at some guys specifically in terms of getting physical. Joe took a lot of fouls over the course of the game. I thought Marco. So different ways for the opposition to choose to try to manage the game or manage people inside of the game. But there certainly was some physicality inside of it. But that's okay. I mean, for us, it's about being more efficient with the ball at times and putting them away when we have the opportunities to do so.
And then it's your second consecutive win. I think you guys are at least a point in 4 of the last 5. What would you say the confidence is in this group right now?
Yeah, good. I think the spirits are high. I think, as I've said to you, we, for a little while now, since coming off the Eastern Coast, the East Conference road swing, by and large, if you just look at the performances, we've been somewhat pleased with a lot of our performances, disappointed with the way we've given away results in certain situations or points. So our emotion, it sometimes is off of the results we're not getting, but our thought process on where we are as a team in terms of performances, I think, have been fairly progressively getting better over the stretch. So I think guys are confident. I think what's important is, again, I said to the guys, I'm not sure we win this game earlier in the season. I think, there's a possibility we give away the second goal because of just we didn't see these types of games out. We didn't have many leads at the beginning of the year, to be honest. But I think we held steady. We did what we needed to do. We took the 3 points and we move on into the next one. So I thought that we had a good sort of resiliency there at the end. So yeah, I think that confidence is high and guys are ready to move on to the next one and try to keep momentum moving in our favor.
Hey, Greg, congratulations on the win. Can you talk to us about Diego and how you're using him recently? Earlier in the season, we saw him play primarily on the wings, and now we're seeing him a little bit more in the midfield, as well as coming back, drop back a little bit, and receive the ball and kind of link up play. Can you talk to us about what the method behind that madness is?
Diego's he's versatile in terms of how we can use him. He has been. He can play on the wing, everywhere else. But inside of the midfield, there's times when we want him to come lower and to be almost like a second pivot with Edwin and really work together with him. There's times in this game where we pushed him up into the higher, which is where he scored the goal. We actually pushed him into the higher gap and brought our fullbacks a little more inside. So because of his versatility and because of his kind of understanding of how we want to play, I feel like it's helped the midfield just to be, at times, a little more fluid. Whereas I think Luka's still learning in midfield, but you see the second Lucas comes on, his combative spirit just brings it something different to the field as well. So it's between the two of them. I think both of them do a great job. They're just different players at this moment in time, and the team has been rolling pretty good with Diego sitting in that position and working together with Edwin at times. And so it's been flowing. So we've been sticking with it because it's been working.
You've had an unchanged back four for the past 2 games. Can you talk to us about how they're settling in with each other, and then potentially what you saw on the goal that was conceded? Thank you.
So first, I think the group is in the back is settled in over the last couple games. I think Amiro's done quite well in sliding over to the left in the last 3 games. Have been I think his performances have been solid. He's looked similarly comfortable on the left as he has on the right in terms of in possession. And I think when we put Maya, or in the 3 games ago, Zonka was on the right, they're more comfortable on the right, and they can add a little bit more in terms of in possession stuff and in terms of the selection of passes when they're on their right foot versus their left. Amiro is always going to choose pretty simple things in general, and so we've I think found a pretty good rhythm in terms of those guys getting comfortable and everybody as a line getting a little more comfortable. There's inside of that, there's things that I always want to keep pushing with our line to be a little more proactive in our movement and things like that. But as a group, I feel like they're pretty connected at the moment.
Hi, Greg. Congrats on the win. More of a crowd this time around to enjoy it than there was on the recent holiday, but still some silence in the stands with the supporter group still in an active boycott. Do the guys notice that? And what is your message to fans who want to support the team but might be feeling punished for also wanting to advocate for their communities?
Yeah, again, I recognize that there are fewer people in the end for sure. We recognize that the volume in the stadium is different for sure. I think the players understand when they step on their task is to try to win the game and to solve the problems of the game and to find the solutions inside of the field and score goals and do the things that they're supposed to do, entertain the fans that are here. As I've said before, fans, I believe, have the right to take the positions that they want to take, and our job is to go out and try to win games. And so that's what we want to keep doing. We have another home game coming up in a few days. It's going to be important for us to recover. We want to go put on the best performance we can and hopefully get 3 points. And we want the fans to come, and we want them to feel safe, and we want them to feel like this is their club and the place they want to be. And we're trying to do our job on the field to try to help that to take place.
Yeah. Hey, Greg. Great win. Been watching you for the last probably like 10 years. One of the more methodical, smart coaches I've seen, and
You gotta paid him to come ask.
Nah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, different than most of the coaches I've seen in MLS. What are you doing to these guys to keep them going? Because you seem like you have a decent demeanor and a decent character to kind of push the team. Like, what are you doing to keep these guys going?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words. I think there's a couple things for me that's important. One is connecting with my players on an individual level, understanding that every player who plays the game, they want to win. They want to improve as a player. They want to enjoy what they're doing, and they want to feel like somebody cares about them in the process. This game and the business can be the opposite. And so I think, for me, I try to develop rapport with our guys so that I know what motivates each one of these guys and, what they care about, and to know that I care about them and I want what's best for them, and I want them to be successful individually and collectively. And inside of that, I try to put forward a methodology, if you will, that they enjoy training, that they enjoy the way we want to play. We emphasize using the ball, which I think a lot of players, especially the types of players that we get, appreciate, and try to help them find solutions and ideas and ways to think about the game maybe that are a little bit different or maybe not that they're used to. And the guys that I've worked with over the years have really just enjoyed the way we play and trying to be methodical with the ball and use it and break other teams down. And so I think guys, in general, I think guys enjoy that because I think that's what a lot of the players that we get, that's what they see is the beauty of the game in certain ways. And so between the connections, the way we want to play, how we run our training sessions to try to bring the right kind of enjoyment, why we try to hold a standard, all those things fit inside of that. So, and I appreciate it. I've learned a lot from the players that I've had over the last 10 years too, from the guys in Toronto to the guys here. It's a collaboration, and I'm not a dictator out there. I'm a collaborator, and I work with the guys. I know what I want it to look like, but I also want to take into consideration each of their qualities and what they bring to the table.
And one last final question on Zoom. Sophie, go ahead.
I'll get you before you. Yeah.
Hey, Greg. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
The team's definitely hit rock bottom this season, and it feels like in the last couple of games, you guys are coming out of some football rehab. What do you think is the most important step that you've seen where you see the team kind of getting to this space of improvement?
Yeah, I think a couple things with this. One is inside of the way we play, it's really important for us to win the midfield. And I'm saying that with the ball, without the ball, it's really just important for us to win the midfield. And the stretch where we had 2 games over the course of 4 weeks, we spent a lot of time and energy working on our midfield play and the connection of the guys in the midfield. And it's no secret that's where we lost some of the guys from last year, and that's where some of our newer players are coming into this year. And so we spent just a lot of time trying to really emphasize those connections and relationships and the things that we find that are important inside of what we want to do. That's one. And the second is defensively, just we had to eliminate the way we were giving up goals. We were, like I said, we were undermining what might have been decent performances at times with just goals that we can't give up if we want to win games. And so solidifying those 2 things, obviously finishing off some chances that we've been getting, which I think has been coming, but getting, Joe, Gabe, Marco, Nasi, those guys kind of connected and flowing up there so that we can put things away. But there's pieces that I feel like have been coming together, but our focus has been a lot on some of the defensive stuff in the back and some of the midfield play that we think is so important to our style of play and the things that we want to do.
Cheers, Greg.
We want to ask that question?
Yeah, one more.
Yeah. We have time
You had
for
one more,
the
so
last
I got you.
question before Diego comes.
Yeah, Greg, you've had a bunch of stars over the last few years, and then now you have a bunch of stars. You got Joseph, you got Marco, you got Peck and all these guys. These guys, like from what I was watching today, they're just really, they look hungry. Have you really spoken to them about like what they're doing in the attack? Because they just look loose and they look free.
Yeah, I think for me, from a lot of those guys, Marco, I think right now just for the last 7-8 weeks just feels good physically for probably one of the first times since he's gotten here where he just feels like he feels good. And now when he feels good, he just plays the game and you see his quality come out. You know, for Joe and for Gabe and Nas, Diego, these guys, just trying to get everybody in a rhythm and feel, you know, inside of what we want to do to find the right sort of freedom to express themselves, to use each other, play off of each other, to build speed, to trust one another in the final actions, things like that, and just try to build confidence in each of them to, you know, to go for it when they're out there and to be mindful of what things that we want to do and what their functions are inside of the team, but also for them to express themselves and to trust each other and play for each other while they're out on the field.
And one final question from Scott French.
Scott.
And this came up in the DC press conference, if you want to call that. It's like 2 people in the room. You go up to nothing, and they make their subs. And he said one of the things that they found was a lot of space, and at 2-0 up, I've got to think you don't want to be giving up so much space. What happened there?
Yeah, I think, and I said this earlier, Scott, if you would have come earlier when this started, but kind of. I wasn't so specific. That's okay. I'm just teasing, Scott. No, I think what started to happen at 2-0, and maybe just a fraction of time before that, is they started to release their press on us, so just a little bit earlier. And we get to 2-0, and they're still coming in the press. And the moments that we break the press and we're just attacking fast, and we're just trying to score the third goal. On the vast majority of those, the attacks broke down pretty quickly inside of 3 passes or so. Well, when our guys at the front are sprinting forward to go take it, and the back guys are trying to keep up, and then we turn over the ball, then space exists in between the lines. And that was happening over and over, in my view. And what we needed to do was, as we drove into that half of the field, we needed at times to spin out, be responsible, bring our group together, force them to defend lower and in their half the field, to these attacking guys and pressing guys to come down to help them have to recover. Then I think we can keep the game tight. We can keep the game in the attacking half the field. They don't get as much space. They don't build momentum because we keep giving it back to them. So I think they were finding space because of our decisions once we were breaking pressure in some of these situations.
Great.
Good.
Thank
All right.
you.